Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. We turn now to California, where an arraignment hearing was set to begin today for Nick Reiner on charges that he killed his two parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. Investigators say that Nick stabbed his mother and father to death in their Brentwood home last month. Today's hearing, however, was delayed after Reiner's defense attorney, high-profile attorney Alan Jackson, asked to withdraw from the case. Now, before we bring you that moment, here's more on the case against Nick Reiner. Sunday, December 14th, around 3:30 p.m., Los Angeles firefighters responded to a 911 call at the Brentwood home of Hollywood filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle.
Upon arrival, they determined that there were two deceased individuals inside of the residence.
Rob Reiner, the son of comedy legend Carl Reiner, catapulted to fame in the 1970s as Michael Stivic, Archie Bunker's hippie son-in-law on the hit television series All in the Family.
All right, put it in.
He went on to become a prolific director of such films as This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, and When Harry Met Sally.
I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
Reiner and his wife, Hollywood producer Michelle Singer Reiner, were found in their home fatally stabbed. The Reiner family confirmed the deaths in a statement posted on Variety.com. It is with profound sorrow that we announce the tragic passing of Michelle and Rob Reiner. We are heartbroken by this sudden loss, and we ask for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time. The Reiners married in 1989 and had 3 children together, sons Jake, Nick, and daughter Romy. Nick Reiner has spoken openly through the years about his issues with drug addiction and homelessness. In 2016, he appeared in this clip, currently circulating on social media, with his father. It was a panel discussion promoting the movie Being Charlie, which was partially inspired by Rob Reiner's experiences parenting Nick.
The whole process for me, I can just speak for myself, it did make me understand him a lot more, and I think it made me a better father. Hopefully it did. If your kid is going through rough times, you know, the parent is, your main job is to keep your child safe.
As police, media, and onlookers converged on the home, sightings were reported of Reiner's friends and collaborators, Larry David and Billy Crystal. Tributes poured in from Hollywood and beyond. Carrie Elwes, who starred in Reiner's cult classic The Princess Bride, posted no words. Jerry O'Connell was one of the child actors featured in Stand By Me, and he tweeted, "Love you, Rob, sincerely." Former President Barack Obama wrote in part, "Beneath all of the stories he produced was a deep belief in the goodness of people and a lifelong commitment to putting that belief in action." All right, so Nick Reiner was scheduled to be arraigned today, but there were some surprising developments. Let's get you into court now for that hearing.
People versus Nick Reiner, case number 25 CJC F08098.
Good morning, Your Honor. Alan Jackson, on behalf of Mr. Reiner, who is present in court out of custody. I'm sorry, in custody. Correct.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we have a matter of housekeeping that I'd like to address in chambers and dealing with the 10 subpoenas that are outstanding. There are 10 current subpoenas that are outstanding. We would ask that body attachments be issued and held for each of the 10, specifically with subpoena number 4 on the list and subpoena number 10 on the list. Counsel for both of those individuals or those parties have appeared in court. They're here with us today. We have no principled objection to an extension of time for them to comply with the subpoena, but to maintain jurisdiction, we would ask that body attachments be issued.
May you take the review?
I don't have the list. I'd like to get a copy, and I haven't seen the proof of service, but I assume the court...
Did counsel for 4 and 10 present?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not sure which number I am.
Number 10.
I'm counsel for number 10, and we do object to issue if that would resolve the court's concerns about retaining jurisdiction. However, we see no reason, given our appearance and the fact that we are here to issue a hold of body attachment.
And counsel for number 4?
In counsel number 10's statement, I don't see the necessity for issuing a body attachment. I too will stipulate to jurisdiction without necessarily waiving any objections we ultimately may make. But given my newness to the matter, I don't see the necessity of having a court order issued against an individual in this circumstance.
Fair enough. As to
Thank you, Your Honor, and just to be clear, we do also reserve all of our objections.
yes, and so, but as to the remaining numbers, that's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Those the court will issue body attachment and hold it until the next court date.
And 9.
And 9.
And thank you. We have no objection to counsel's representations, given the fact that both have graciously submitted to jurisdiction with regard to 4 and 10. We think that's appropriate.
Thank you. And once again, the court will issue and hold the read 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9
Thank you.
until the next hearing date. And we'll
Does the court have a list?
It does. The court will seal that list as well.
We've asked
People have a copy, Your Honor?
We've asked that the court seal it specifically because it is an ongoing defense investigation. Data or evidence that we recover or we get, our counsel on behalf of Mr. Reiner gets, and that is discoverable. We'll comply with all, or counsel will comply with all discovery obligations at that time.
Can you address the counsel's request to provide a copy to the people?
That's the point. We think that should not be done because that would implicate ongoing investigative efforts by the defense, and it would compromise Mr. Reiner's right to a fair trial and his right to maintain his investigation with some level of confidence or confidentiality, I should say.
But at this time, the court would just seal it until the next court hearing date.
Thank you.
And how else would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, at this time, I, on behalf of Watson Jackson and Quinn, and with Mr. Reiner's understanding and consent, would ask to withdraw as counsel of record based on the conversation that we've had in chambers and the explanation that we've provided to the court in chambers. We feel that we have no choice at this juncture but to withdraw as counsel and ask to be relieved. The Public Defender's Office has been notified. We've had conversations with them. They are here. They're staffed. They're ready to take over. My understanding is they're ready for the appointment immediately, forthwith.
Good morning, Your Honor. Kimberly Green from the Public Defender's Office. That is correct.
So the court will case, and so that firm is relieved as counsel of record, and the court appoints the Public Defender's Office to represent Mr. Reiner.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Current counsel turn over any items that they received.
We will absolutely comply with that. We've already begun the mediation has been met.
Your Honor, there's a protective order issued by the court in place regarding the handling of discovery. Order that's remaining in place for now, and we will serve a copy of that on the Public Defender's Office along with the discovery we provide.
Yes, the court orders that order.
Preclude me from giving, Mr. Balin raises a very sage point. I'm under a protective order not to provide our discovery to anybody else. That would text providing the information only to Ms. Green in her office. Then I can be in full compliance with the protective order.
Anything to the people, any response to that request?
No problem. I believe the protective order spells out that it covers Mr. Jackson's firm as well as any successor counsel.
Thank you.
So you can provide everything to Ms. Green.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further? Back on the record in People versus Nick Reiner, case number 25 CJC F08098.
Good morning. Kimberly Green, Derek Ngeni from the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Mr. Reiner, who again is present.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Habib Balin, representing the people of the state of California.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, we'd ask to over the arraignment one last time to February 23rd. That date is appropriate.
That date is fine. Court.
Thank you, and I will work with Ms. Green to get her discovery prior to that date.
I'll take a waiver for you. Entitled, you have a constitutional statutory right to a speedy arraignment. Your counsel, Ms. Green from the Public Defender's Office, is requesting that your arraignment be continued to February the 23rd, 2026. In this department, do you waive your right to be arraigned today so that your matter may be continued to February 23rd, 2026 for arraignment? Thank you. Does counsel join that waiver?
I do.
The court finds that the defendant has made a knowing and intelligent waiver of his right to a speedy arraignment, and that his counsel of record joins in that waiver. Matter set for arraignment in this department, February 23rd, 2026. Bail remains at no bail. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
All right, stunning developments there. Alan Jackson, high-profile attorney, represented Karen Reed, also representing someone in that same courthouse involving a car crash that killed 4 sorority sisters, representing a young man in that case as well, has withdrawn from the case with Nick Reiner. Let's bring in our guest, still with us, former Deputy Public Defender Philip Dubé. Philip, you're very familiar with that courthouse. It's interesting. I want to get your thoughts on this, but I want to point something out that I got from something that Alan Jackson said in court. He said, based on conversations with Nick Reiner, as well as in chambers with the judge, he says he has no choice but to withdraw from the case. What does that tell you?
Tells me one of 3 things. Number one, that there is a witness on the case that perhaps Mr. Jackson's firm currently or formerly represented. That is an actual conflict. That's just a guess, though. The second reason could be that right after Nick was arrested, I believe it was the family who retained Alan Jackson's firm. And under California's ethical rules of professional conduct, you need the permission of the client for the representation. Merely because the family is bankrolling and financing the defense doesn't mean that the family calls the shots. If counsel is going to rely on the family to navigate the defense, that creates a conflict. The client here is Nick. He gets to call the shots, and he is the one who has to agree in writing to the representation, not the family. If Nick won't agree, then there is no attorney-client relationship. The third reason that I suspect is the problem is California Probate Code Section 250 has a slayer statute. And what it says is that if you kill the testator as a beneficiary, you are cut out of the estate. You're cut out of the will. You're cut out of the trust. It doesn't mean that there's this extra sort of pot of gold for your defense in the murdering of the testator. No, you're done. And if the family was using trust assets to finance the defense, it puts them at liability and at risk to having to reimburse the estate for all the legal fees. I don't know what Mr. Jackson's firm charges, but I can safely assume it's more than bus fare. It is a bloody fortune to be represented by him. So I think it created a financial conflict, not to mention that it puts the family at risk of having to reimburse the estate.
It's interesting because I didn't get the sense, based on his language. He said he spoke to Nick, he was in agreement, spoke to the judge, and then, it was clear that he had no choice but to withdraw. If the issue was money, there's always a choice there. There's other ways to get money. I mean, that's court-decided. We've seen him in other cases work. I think the second Karen Reed case, he worked for free under those circumstances. I don't think the words no choice would have been used by him, and I don't think it's so clear-cut under those circumstances. Might you agree with that?
It sounds like Nick doesn't have any personal assets outside the inheritance or outside the family trust that was supposed to be dispersed to him. If, in fact, he is indigent outside that trust, that's exactly why the Public Defender's Office stands ready to represent anybody charged with a crime. So it sounds like he was indigent, he had no independent wealth, and Jackson's firm is not going to work pro bono. So that's what it sounds like to me.
All right. Now, after this was done, everybody wondered what the family of Nick Reiner might be thinking. Well, they did release a statement. And here's that statement. They said basically it was short and sweet. They have the utmost trust in the legal process and will not comment further on the matters related to the legal proceedings. And I believe they also mentioned this had nothing to do with issues with Alan Jackson or his representation. He was totally professional throughout this entire thing. So the stepping in now is going to be the Public Defender's Office, something you're very familiar with. I believe an attorney by the name of Kim Green, 19-year veteran, is stepping in. I want to get your thoughts on this change. One thing Alan Jackson said was, we're going to dig deep, we're going to get behind the facts, et cetera, et cetera. Does that change? What changes now that the Public Defender's Office is involved?
First of all, I am so happy for Nick Reiner because he has inherited a fantastic attorney. Kimberly Green is a very seasoned capital attorney. In fact, many years ago, when she was what we call a baby public defender, I supervised her. And she had such great promise. She is a very skilled advocate. So I have no doubt that this is going to be a piece of cake in terms of litigation, handling it, and so on. The advantage that Nick has is that there really are bottomless resources to defend him. Any expert that she might need, everything will be paid for at taxpayer expense. If she needs somebody in court, she can utilize the subpoena power of the LA County sheriffs at no cost. They will go out, serve the subpoenas, they will issue body attachments and bring anybody to court that she needs in his defense. So I'm actually happy for him.